the Indiana Fever beat the Dallas Wings 102-83. This was a highly anticipated game because it was going to be the first time that Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers would be going up against one another in the WNBA.
Basketball fans have been seeing one of the most illustrious rivalries for the past 5 years. High school sensations Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark took different routes. Bueckers to UConn, Clark to Iowa. Particularly during the NCAA tournament, Clark dominated their college games. Gino Arima and other critics questioned if Clark could apply her success to the WNBA. When the Indiana Fever hosted the Dallas Wings last night, these two faced off for the first time as professionals. However, what followed was more than a game. In a manner that only she has accomplished twice, Clark was creating history. Comment CC Record Breaker if you're eager to learn about the records that were broken that evening. Come on, picture this. Two young basketball stars who are causing a stir in America will face off for years to come. Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark first squared off in high school. Despite having entirely different personalities and playing styles, both were considered top recruits. Clark contributed deep three-point shooting, outstanding passing, and explosive scoring. Bueckers displayed court vision that was on par with Clark's, as well as silky efficiency and a lovely mid-range.
Hey, Caitlin. You've known Paige since middle school, AAU. You guys were on the U19 World Cup team together. Is there anything that maybe stood out then about her, whether it be on or off the court, that maybe still reigns true today?
I mean, I feel like she's played in the same manner that she, has since she was, whether we were on the U16 team together, U19 team together, whether it's me watching her in AAU, she's always just been smooth. She takes what the game gives her. Her midi has always been as nice as it's been this year. She just plays way older than she is. She's confident, she's smooth, she just does everything at a high level, can score from all three levels. And that's how she's always played, and that's obviously translated really well.
Their college experiences were very different from one another. Bueckers joined a dynasty that had won numerous titles by selecting the illustrious UConn program run by Gino Arima. Iowa, a program eager to establish itself on the largest platform, was chosen by Clark. This choice paved the way for historic NCAA tournament matches that would shape the careers of both players and March Madness. Bueckers' hopes of winning the UConn were dashed by Clark's Iowa squad. When it mattered most, Clark put on incredible performances, such as a 41-point masterpiece that sent the Huskies home early. She defeated Bueckers in 2 of their 3 college encounters, outplaying him head-to-head. Fans and basketball commentators began taking sides, resulting in an almost legendary rivalry that extended beyond college basketball.
People are saying, everything is she was Caitlin before Caitlin, she's better than Caitlin and all this stuff. That kind of stopped in the media. Caitlin Clark put up better numbers in the WNBA than Paige did in college.
Clark's game was specifically criticized by Gino Arima. In contrast to his own star Buecker, he questioned her choice of shots and her preparedness for the WNBA. Arima thought that Buecker's principles would be more applicable on a professional level. Buecker's fluid efficiency and Clark's explosive scoring reflected 2 distinct approaches to basketball greatness.
Said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement.
Fans were curious about when the 2 athletes would ultimately play professionally when they announced their intentions to join the WNBA. With a 2:1 college edge and fresh concerns about her pro game, the scene was set for their first WNBA matchup. There was a great deal of anticipation. Knowing that this contest would attract fans from all around the nation, ABC decided to broadcast it nationally. This clash was even more important for Clark's reputation because of her recent Fever troubles.
Our player development coach yesterday, and he was just sent me a few things of even Steph going through a slump. I think he was 27 for his last 70 or something like that. The best in the world go through it, and I think that's where you can find your confidence. And I think the thing I always fall back on is like, I know how hard I've worked, so this isn't something that's going to last, and the best players in the world go through this. So I feel like I'm getting good shots, and I think that's why it's frustrating, because those are the shots that I make.
This is where things start to get interesting, though. Shortly before this huge battle, Clark's Fever were having a lot of trouble. The Indiana Fever had just lost humiliatingly against teams they ought to have defeated. Their losses to the Golden State Valkyries and LA Sparks left supporters perplexed. These teams weren't dominant ones. The Fever should have been able to deal with these squads with ease.
Like this stretch, this is a big game for us. I think we've struggled in the fact that we're able to play one good game, and then we play a bad game, then we play a good game, then we play a bad game. So I think for us is like, we got to find a way to be able to stack really good games together. And then we go on the road, and we're on a back-to-back, which is just a challenge in itself. No matter who you're playing, we play Connecticut, then we play New York. So I think Steph's message was, yes, All-Stars coming up, that break's coming up, but our focus is on these 3 games that we have left. So in that sense, I do think it's critical that our focus just remains on the game in front of us. And I feel like that's what everybody in the locker room is doing.
Behind the scenes, Coach Stephanie White's slower style and Clark's fast-paced vision were engaged in a philosophical battle. Clark aimed to increase the tempo and provide opportunity for quick breaks. White favored a more regulated half-court style of play. There was genuine conflict within the group as a result of this divergent basketball philosophies. White's approach prevented Clark from using his explosive style of transition basketball, which was how he flourished. A pivotal incident occurred during the Atlanta Dream game when Clark and White got into a heated sideline argument. Every syllable of their heated conversation was captured on camera. Their seeming hostility and passion showed how deeply they were at odds.
There is definitely something going on within the locker room, the front office. Something is off, man. This is the 3rd situation in one game we have had involving Caitlin Clark and the coaching staff and pretty much another player. And it looked like Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White definitely had a situation where they was in a heated exchange right before halftime.
Inconsistencies in the lineup made matters worse. After her injury, Clark was attempting to regain her rhythm. Dyrus Dantis returned from her national team game. Their chemistry was totally upset by these modifications. Establishing regular rotations and offensive rhythm was difficult for the team. With important parts arriving and going, players were still finding out their responsibilities. It was agonizing to witness the irritating errors that afflicted the Fever. Game after game, missed shots accumulated. Turnovers destroyed assets that had promise. There was no rapid break, which was what Magic Clark thrived on. I believe we've struggled in the fact that we're able to play one. Clark said nice game, followed by a horrible game, followed by another good game, and so on. During this period, Clark's shooting issues became a big worry. Despite acknowledging that she was in a rut, she maintained her confidence. She declared, "I'm never going to quit shooting," likening her predicament to Steph Curry's sporadic periods of coldness. When the Fever finally ended their losing skid against Atlanta, it was the decisive moment. Although they prevailed in that match, tensions between White and Clark persisted. The disagreement on philosophy had not been settled. It was just placed on hold.
It can be frustrating when your shot isn't going in the way that you want it to, but then I look at the box and it's like, I'm really 4 shots away from having a really good game, a really good shooting game. So that's where you find your confidence, and I know those are shots that I can make, and I'm never going to stop shooting. So, until I break out of it, I'm just going to keep launching, and that's all I know, and I'm still confident in everything that I can do.
The final test was the Dallas game. Would White at last adopt Clark's favorite look? Or would the team's potential still be hampered by the philosophical divide? This internal conflict created the ideal environment for Bueckers' confrontation with Clark, who was keen to demonstrate that her strategy could be successful on a professional level. Then, a miraculous event occurred. At last, Stephanie White granted Clark what she had been requesting. White made the critical choice to let Clark set the pace and direct the offense against Dallas. This wasn't merely a minor change. White entirely altered her strategy and put her faith in Clark to guide the group at the speed she desired.
Lee Rue the other night had a season-high 18 points. Here's Boston turning the corner. Dishing to Hull. Extra feed Clark. A deep 3. You bet! And he actually brought up stats from a shooting slump Steph Curry went through. She said that made her feel a lot better. That pass will as well, right on the money to Mitchell.
Cunningham attacked the closeout.
Clark, the rejection of Quinterly. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, beautifully done. Touchdown Fever.
As both sides felt each other out in the first quarter of the game, it was unclear if this tactic would be successful. The Fever appeared excellent, yet unimpressive. They were gradually establishing their beat. Although Clark was enlisting her comrades, the real fireworks had not yet begun. The game felt competitive, and the Wings were keeping up.
Here's Clark being hawked by Isaiah James. Clark sidestepping three is good. Clark backing down Quinterly. 6 to shoot, fading away and dropping it in. Beautiful. Here's Clark off the screen, through the lane, feeds Howard. Another assist for Clark. That's 13, as Howard is up to 18 points.
Then, when everything clicked, came the thrilling second quarter. Clark began to move at a faster rate than before. With those full-court passes, which the fans referred to as touchdown passes, she was locating teammates. In just one quarter, the Fever scored an amazing 36 points. In just 10 minutes, they outscored Dallas by 21 points. This was more than just excellent basketball. This was the poetry of basketball in action.
He actually brought up stats from a shooting slump Steph Curry went through. She said that made her feel a lot better. That pass will as well, right on the money to Mitchell. A tenacious start from Caitlin Clark. Here's Wale off on a three. Long rebound. Mitchell, you're not going to catch her. Kelsey Mitchell in for two. They elevate each other because of how hard they compete. Nice look. Aaliyah Boston with a gorgeous dime to Kelsey Mitchell.
Clark's leadership elicited incredible responses from her teammates. On 8 of 12 shots, Kelsey Mitchell scored 20 points. She has now scored in double figures in 21 games. Mitchell was taking advantage of Clark's speed and enthusiasm to hit shots from all directions. Natasha Howard finished with 18 points on an effective 8 of 9 shooting while sprinting around the court like a gazelle. Howard attacked the rim, seemed unstoppable. Inside, Aaliyah Boston was in charge, controlling the paint with her strength and bulk. She was taking advantage of every chance Clark gave her. Boston and Clark had the ideal chemistry. With her pace, Clark would attract opponents before finding Boston for simple baskets.
Bounces Boston one more time. This time Mitchell delivering. And Boston up to 13 points. Indiana shooting 66%.
This is what really set this performance apart. In the first half, the Fever scored a franchise-high 64 points. They were exhibiting the most exquisite basketball performance of the season. The previous record of 63 points, which was set in 2016 against the New York Liberty. Additionally, the 64 points were the greatest scoring half of any WNBA team in 2025. 13 of the Fever's 30 assists, which tied a franchise record, came from Clark. This demonstrated that, given the opportunity, she could improve everyone in her vicinity. Clark was doing more than just scoring. She was improving her teammates. The ball moved in an amazing way. Each pass served a purpose. Every item felt risky. The Fever were unstoppable thanks to Sophie Cunningham, who added another scoring danger off the bench. Cunningham reached 1,500 career points with 13 points, including a clutch layup. Her vigor and shooting prowess provided the Fever an additional weapon that Dallas was unable to deal with.
Cunningham the rebound. Cunningham swiftly up the floor, finds Howard for two. Sophie Cunningham making a huge impact off the bench, and Dallas will take a timeout.
In this lineup, Natasha Howard is the quickest post player.
The 36 points scored in the second quarter tied for the third highest total in the history of the Fever franchise. During this time, the team's field goal percentage was 76.2%. For almost 8 minutes, they ran a scorching 33-9 run. This speed and intensity were beyond the Wings' capabilities. The Wings were unable to keep up with Indiana's speed and intensity, and the game turned into a total rout. Dallas appeared worn out and perplexed. The Fever's transition game was too much for them to handle. At the professional level, Clark's idea of fast-paced basketball was operating flawlessly. This was more than just a victory. It demonstrated that Clark's idea of fast-paced basketball could succeed on a professional scale. The monster had finally been let loose by White, and the outcome was momentous.
Good dub. 2 in a row. 2 more to All-Star. Let's go. Woo!
W. I'll leave her down so you already know what's coming. Bow, bow, bow! On to the next. Hell yeah! Can you use that one? Let's go, baby. Give your energy to Kristen. W. Now we gotta go get another one.
However, this is the moment that will live on in memory forever. Clark did not simply prevail. She created history in the WNBA. Clark was quietly putting together a stat line that has only been accomplished once in WNBA history while controlling the game. On the court, she was doing everything, setting up teammates flawlessly and scoring when necessary. Then, on defense, something unique began to occur. Throughout the entire game, the numbers were increasing. With 14 points, Clark demonstrated her ability to score well without forcing shots. She demonstrated her ability to improve everyone around her with her 13 assists. The defensive plays then began to appear. Like a mind reader, Clark was reading the passing lanes. Even before they arrived, she was waiting to see what the wing would do.
Bounce. Clark backing down Quinterly. 6 to shoot, fading away and dropping it in. Beautiful mid-range fadeaway from Caitlin Clark.
This is the precise moment that changed history. Clark finished the game with a stat line of 14 points, 13 assists, and 5 thefts, including her 5th steal. Clark became the only player in WNBA history to accomplish this particular combo twice during her career as a result. As of right now, she is the first player in WNBA history to record this stat line twice in a single game. Beyond those 5 steals, Clark had a significant defensive influence. She recorded a block that gave Sophie Cunningham a fast break assist right away. This play demonstrated her full knowledge of the court and her capacity to generate scoring opportunities through defensive plays. Her ability to anticipate was interfering with the wing's offensive rhythm. When Clark was on defense, everything felt risky.
Cunningham attacked the closeout.
Clark, the rejection of Quinterly. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, beautifully done. Touchdown, Fever.
Sophie Cunningham runs the route and puts her hand up in the air, gives Caitlin Clark the target, barely over the fingertips of Hines Allen. Beautiful, beautiful pass, catch, in stride, finish. Beautiful basketball.
The Wings and Paige Bueckers were unable to respond to Clark's entire game. Orike Anali finishing with just 2 points after going 0 for 10 from the field was the most revealing statistic. Orike is thought to be among the top players on the wing, but the Fever's team defense and Clark's defensive pressure rendered her totally useless. This crucial player's subpar performance demonstrated the Fever's complete superiority. The Wings' attempt to physically confront Clark was a total failure. Instead of switching screens, they grabbed her off the ball. Because Clark used their aggressiveness to locate open teammates and drive to the basket, this strategy was unsuccessful. Each time, despite their physical attempts to slow her down, she managed to make them pay. The entire tale was revealed by the final score of 102-83. Every critic and doubter who questioned Clark's preparedness for the WNBA had been addressed and silenced. This game wasn't just good. She demonstrated that she belonged among the league's best players with this statement performance. This landmark performance demonstrated that Clark wasn't only adjusting to the WNBA. At the professional level, she was rewriting what was feasible. Clark had written the first few chapters of the new chapter in the competition with Bueckers in a powerful manner.
Feel like this was one of their best games as far as playing Fever basketball, which is a fast-paced style of basketball. They played Fever basketball for, I would say, about 75 to 80% of the game. And we have obviously seen this style of basketball, the style of basketball that we all know and love from the Indiana Fever, but we have only really seen it in short spurts. There have been so many games and so many times throughout this season where it feels like the Fever system is a slow down basketball type of system. Their offense wasn't running smoothly, but in this game, they were playing quick. They were moving the ball around. They had so many points off of the fast break.
This completes the prophecy. Clark has established herself as a member of the WNBA's elite while creating history that only she can claim. When Clark is allowed to play her style of basketball, the Fever's overwhelming triumph over Bueckers and the Wings demonstrates their full potential. The franchise records were destroyed. Each person's accomplishments accumulated. Most significantly, when White trusted Clark's vision, the team chemistry finally clicked. As 2025's second half draws near, and basketball fans have every cause to be eager for what is ahead as this rivalry enters its professional phase. The Fever have difficult road games coming up against Connecticut and New York. Comment CC Record Breaker if you're thrilled about the Fever now that Clark is back. To ensure that you never miss anything, like, subscribe, and enable all notifications. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next.